the green bean casserole, I'm going to take 3 bags of frozen green beans and get them in this large bowl and hope they start thawing a little bit while I work on the rest of the ingredients. If you have time, pre-thaw these and it will significantly cut down on your stovetop cooking time. At any rate, though, you'll need 3 bags of frozen cut green beans, 3 12-ounce bags. In my preheated skillet, I'm going to put in some olive oil. I'm going to start sauteing off some onion, a third to a half of diced white onion, depending on the size of the onion and how much you want in your dish. You'll want to season it up with some salt and pepper and some ground nutmeg. I love ground nutmeg in cream sauces and also with mushrooms. Nutmeg and mushrooms go very nicely together. So I'm going to get that seasoned up and saute those off for a bit. Meanwhile, I'm going to chop up a couple cloves of garlic and get our mushrooms ready to go. I bought my mushrooms pre-sliced. There was an 8-ounce package of pre-sliced mushrooms, so I'm just going to use those. So the garlic's just going to go in for a couple of minutes, and then we'll add in our mushrooms. You could quarter your mushrooms or slice them however you want to do it with the mushrooms, but it's 8 ounces of mushrooms going in there. You're going to want these mushrooms to start to soften up a bit, and then that's when we'll start making our roux. We're basically making a homemade cream of mushroom soup here. So we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of butter. We're going to let that start to melt. You'll probably want to turn down the temperature on your skillet at this point in time before you add the flour so you don't burn the flour. Once your butter is fully melted, you're going to add in the 1/4 cup of flour. That's going to make the roux. Once the flour and the butter are completely incorporated and the flour has absorbed all the butter and starting to cook out, that's when you can deglaze with the can of chicken broth. So you're going to want to add in your chicken broth when those are fully incorporated. Now this will start to simmer and then it's going to start to thicken up. And you're just going to want to make sure that you have a nice smooth sauce at this point in time before you add in your 3/4 cup of cold milk. You can add everything in all at once, but when I'm making a soup or a sauce, I often like to fully incorporate one liquid in before I add the next one if you're thickening them up. That way you can assure that you have a nice smooth sauce or soup. So now you're going to want to adjust your seasonings, and once that's fine, you can throw in your frozen green beans or thawed green beans. Now you'll need to cook these down for a bit because you want them to be fairly tender before you put them in the casserole to bake. That way your topping isn't getting too burnt by the time your green beans are tender. So you need to have your green beans fairly tender before you put them in the casserole to bake. So your topping just gets nice and golden brown and your green beans are nice and tender. You're going to top the casserole dish with shredded cheddar cheese and the French fried onions. Before you put it in the casserole dish, make sure that you check the seasoning one more time because your green beans will have absorbed a lot of that seasoning. So you're going to want to make sure that it tastes fine. Then you're going to put it in your casserole and top it with the cheddar cheese and the French fried onions. As far as bake time goes, 25 minutes is probably what you're looking for. However, sometimes our ovens don't keep up with us on Thanksgiving, so it could take a little bit more time. But if you know that your green beans were close to being done when you put them in, basically all you're looking for is that cheese to have gotten melted and your fried onions to be nice and crispy on top. Just looking for that golden brown topping. So there is the green bean casserole, one of mine and my family's favorite holiday sides.